Good morning. Welcome to the work session today. We're going to call this meeting to order, and if you would please stand. Buddy Fowler is going to lead us in our invocation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you would, let's bow our heads. Our Father, we come to you humbly today asking for your guidance. Father, continue to help build and make this city of ours great. Father, we're thankful to see the many people here with the interest they have today in our town and its growth. Father, we ask you to continue to guide us, lead us as we try to prepare a path for Surf City. Father, we ask you to be with each of us as we go our ways. Father, we know the season coming upon us is of your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask all to remember why we are celebrating Christmas because of his name, Father. We ask that you continue to bless us, be with us, keep us safe, all our military families here and abroad, Father. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen.
At this time, Mayor Pro-Tem Don Helms will lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank you all for coming today. And if you would, make sure that your cell phones are silenced. And we are going to move directly into our cancel vacancy, which is the first item on the agenda. We will allow 2 minutes for applicants to provide a brief statement on the qualifications and why you want to serve the town in this capacity. You will see and hear a timer that will stop after 2 minutes. Applicants will be called up in random order. The next step in this process is council's consideration of this appointment, which will be considered at the next council meeting, which will be held on January the 10th. If you would like to reach out to council members individually, you are more than welcome to do so. Any appointment will require a motion, a second, and a majority vote of this council. And at this time, I am going to call on Carla.
Madam Mayor, may I make a motion?
Yes, sir.
I want to make a motion to amend the agenda to add, go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 A6 personnel, and that will be item 6 on the agenda.
I'll second that.
All of those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. All right, Carla.
Stephen DeRosa.
Stephen DeRosa, if you're here, please come forward.
Move on.
We'll move on.
Trudy Solomon.
Trudy.
Hello. Mayor and Council, I appreciate the timeliness, the way you've worked to put this process in order and make it timely. I know you've worked on the integrity and the transparency of this process, and I greatly appreciate that. And I'm excited to be here today and have a chance to be considered for the open position. And I'm excited to serve in a town, to be in a town where this many people come forward to willing to serve. I think that's a blessing. I've lived here for many years. I explained that in my application. And I have been more and more involved with the town government because I do have a servant's heart, and I felt called to participate more and to learn more. My home is here, of course. My family is here. We've raised 3 kids here. I worship here. Our family business is here. I've worked with the Turtles for a number of years, different things and organizations, and I'm just really, everything in my life is centered here in Surf City. Therefore, I'm very intricately involved in what's going on with your decisions and how we move forward, and I love to learn about all that. And I prayed about this a lot. I've pondered and prayed over it for about 5 years. And I knew there was some opportunities in the past that were not my timing, but I'm excited about today. And I appreciate that the things that I've learned and participated in this in the past have brought me to today. And you can't reap what you don't sow. And I know that your jobs, I've learned that your jobs are very a little bit more than what's maybe explained on a website. There's more than a few meetings a month. There is a lot of effort and energy and sacrifice that you've all put into this. I admire your all of your skills that you bring to the table, and I know you're looking for someone to complement your team and to provide teamwork to help you with your current projects, future projects, to be support. And I consider myself a person who would be great for that. I do have a servant's heart. I do enjoy the business and learning, and I value what you do. And I do feel called to this time, in this time of my life where my participation with the town has increased because other things have decreased, and I appreciate this opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenna Morton.
Good morning. My name is Jenna Morton. I am a local Surf City resident since 2001. It is my desire to join this council to help continue move Surf City forward, to make it the great place that it is to live, to work, and to visit. I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to continue to help serve our wonderful community. I've been a local realtor since 2006. And I have seen our amazing town continue to grow off the island and onto the mainland. So many new businesses, so many new venues, and it's just an amazing place to live and to work. I think that being a realtor helps me listen and take other people's needs and wants into consideration and meld everything together so that we're moving forward together as a team, making positive choices for the entire community. As a small business owner myself, it's sometimes very difficult to make hard decisions, but I pride myself in making hard decisions and knowing that the right thing is what will ultimately come out and help move everyone forward. I pride myself on honesty and integrity, and I feel that this will also help making sure that we are transparent moving forward so that all of our citizens will benefit. And we had a lot of struggles in the past, all towns have, but I don't think we need to focus on the past. I think we need to move forward, and we need to have a clear vision, and we need to work together as a team to make sure that we can move everything forward. So I would very much like this appointment. I would very much be a bigger part of this community than I already am. I think that it is a great place to be, and I just hope that you guys consider all of the nominees carefully. I do have a lot of nonprofit experience. I've been on several boards, and I look forward to this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Veshoff.
Good morning. Mayor Batts, members of the Town Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. My name is Richard Veshoff. My wife and I have been fortunate to call Surf City home for almost 5 years, and a great deal has happened in that short amount of time. 6 months after moving here to our forever home, our town was hit by Hurricane Florence, not our best time. We had no idea what to expect when returning home. After all, the unknown is the scariest part of life. We were so impressed with how well our new hometown handled the disaster. The sheer organization of cleanup, getting people back home, and providing bottled water on reentry was more than we expected. We will be forever grateful for the care that we felt from the members of our community during that stressful time. Like most towns across America, we have our own unique challenges. Managing the growth, being good stewards of the resources that we have here, beach nourishment and preservation, quality of life for our residents and our friends who come by to stay for a while. As my wife likes to remind me, in all things, there must be balance and grace. Town management can be difficult waters to navigate, but our mayors and town council members have been diligent in their duties and responsibilities. They all accepted the responsibilities freely, without hesitation. I believe because they were called to serve. I too have heard the call and welcome the opportunity to become part of this town council team. I would like to respectfully request consideration for the open town council seat. And I know that I did run for election in the past, and the last couple of years I have been involved with family matters, deaths in the family, and securing care for my 87-year-old mother-in-law. But all those things have been rectified and are behind me, and I look forward to the future. I look forward to serving on this council, doing everything I can to serve the people and the businesses of our town. And again, I would appreciate consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carlton Huffman.
Good morning, Council and Mayor. I am Carlton Huffman, and I'm a new resident of Surf City. I moved here in May of 2021. I came from Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm Director of Transportation and Logistics for a company called Cornerstone Building Brands. And I lead a team of nearly 3,000 employees across the country and transportation, distribution, and supply chain activities. I have a budget of over $250 million. I work with all facets of the business, whether it's HR, marketing, sales, plant operations, plant maintenance, and customer service. I have a good experience base to pull upon, and I believe I'd be an asset to the team with my experience. I have a family that's been a part of this community for only a short time, but we've enjoyed living here, and I want to be a part of the future here. You know, we have a son that's a junior at Topsail High School, and my daughter goes to UNC Wilmington. And, you know, I just recently completed my MBA, and so I now have some time to give back to the community I live in, and I think this would be a great opportunity for me to connect with this community as a new resident, share some of my experience where I was a former commissioner of a recreational softball league before, so I have that experience in a volunteer capacity. And I want to, again, just be a part of the community. I haven't had much opportunity to be a part with my studies of the MBA, but that's behind me now, and I can finally give it into the community and connect. So I appreciate the time, and I look forward to your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hugh Kennedy.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'd like to thank the council for taking the time to hear everyone out and giving everybody an opportunity to participate on the council, or to apply for this vacancy on the council. My name again is Hugh Kennedy. I've lived in Surf City now for over 25 years, even though we used to visit here when I was a small child. A former highway patrolman. When patrol brought me down here in 1994 to Pender County was my duty station. I couldn't think of anywhere else I wanted to be other than Surf City, and I've been here ever since. I also own a small business just off the island that services the people of Surf City. My career with the patrol, I was basically, that's a community servant, and that's what I've done for the past 25 years. I've recently retired from the patrol, and it's kind of made some time available for me to seek out other things, and that's why I'm here today, is to try to continue forward my service for the community. Throughout my career, one of the things I feel like was a positive for me was being able to build relationships and communicate with this community and civilians or citizens of the area I was in. And one way I was able to do that was by listening to what they had to say, process what was going on, and try to help the best that I can, and I feel like I was successful at that throughout my career. Another positive, I think, through that is with the patrol, is we're teamwork oriented, we're mission oriented, we're goal oriented, and I believe that will be a positive. I know I'm running out of time. My involvement with the town currently is, in the past I've served on clean sweep committees. I worked with the Parks and Recreation through coaching, with the patrol through the hurricanes, Bertha, Bonnie, Floyd, Fran, Matthew, Florence. I was here to help with the disaster relief as far as that goes. In closing, I would like to say that I would like to continue serving the community, and that's where I'm at. Thank you. Saved by the bell.
Joel Smith. Joel Smith.
Good morning. My name is Joel Smith. Surf City means a lot to me and my family. My wife and I started renting a home here in October 2020. And we loved it so much we decided to retire in Surf City and purchased a new home. Short time later, moved here permanently from Warsaw. We enjoy spending our time with our children and grandchildren and making memories in Surf City. This town holds a special place in my heart. My parents brought a summer home here in the early 1970s. My first home was on North Shore Drive, right between Scotch Bonnet and Barnacle Bills Pier. So I grew up in that area. My father broke my heart in 2007 when he sold our last home that we had. That first home was washed away by Hurricane Fran. I have so many wonderful memories of growing up in Surf City and spending the summers at the pier and having a large time with my friends. I graduated from James Keenan High School, spent 4 years in the United States Coast Guard. I currently own J&SCO Incorporated in Clinton and Dunn, Sampson and Harnett counties. We recently transferred our membership from the Warsaw Methodist Church to the Faith Harbor United Methodist Church we've been attending for a little over a year. I have served on the Warsaw Town Council, the Warsaw ABC Board, served over 40 years as a volunteer fireman in the Warsaw Fire Department, served on numerous boards of my church and my community, and I enjoy working with the members of my community and making our lives better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Heather Allen.
Hi, everyone. My name's Heather Allen. My family and I moved here from a city that used to look a lot like Surf City. It was clean, it was safe, the schools were great, and it was a nice place to raise a family. However, due to many policies, no matter how well-intentioned, unfortunately led to very adverse impacts, and I can honestly say that none of those qualities remain in my old hometown. When we found Surf City, it was an absolute answer to our prayers. Surf City is a beautiful, upstanding, safe town with one of the highest ranked school districts in all of North Carolina. All of these positive attributes are exactly why I'm standing here today, because I know firsthand that these qualities can become fleeting. I completely understand the importance of having members on a city council who have lived here for decades, people whose roots and hearts are invested here. I also believe I could be a great representative for all the new Surf City residents who share my same story. I'm extremely motivated to preserve Surf City, and I think I can help and be very proactive into doing that. In my time here, I feel like I've done a great job contributing to the community. One of my proudest accomplishments was playing a vital role alongside other parents who I know are in this room in helping with a fight to unmask our children at school. I've also started a small business as well as a ladies' pistol club in hopes to keep our community safe. I help keep our beaches clean as a member of the Topsail Longboard Association, and I also helped with the Resilient Community Coastal Community Program. I know you can achieve a lot with time and energy, and right now I have time, I've got a lot of energy, I've got a lot of great ideas for the town, and I'm very excited to work for the people, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alicia Hawley.
council members and Mayor Batts, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name's Alicia Hawley, and I reside at 114 Windjammer Drive. I've lived and worked in Surf City for almost 20 years, where my husband and I have operated a successful business for the past 15 years locally. We have a 9-year-old son who attends Surf City Elementary since kindergarten. I've also been on the PTA for the school for almost 4 years, operating as the president for 2 of those years and bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars over that time. Last year, I served as treasurer for the HOA at Triton Village, where we still own a long-term rental property. We moved in April of 2022 to our current home on the island, which is where we intend to stay indefinitely. To say I'm vested in our community might be an understatement. My husband and I are always part of local charitable organizations and events, often donating items that go for top bids at auction. My top priority in this community is our children, and I hope to aid in keeping Surf City a family-friendly community. I would like to be instrumental in seeing the community center project through in a timely manner, keeping children of all ages and capabilities in mind as we move forward. I also want to see the continued support of our local small businesses. These are the people that live and work in our community and spend their time and money here year-round. I'm aware that we are in the final approval process of the Beach Nourishment Project. I would like to see the council educate our citizens on how they will be affected. Items like legal explanation of the easement documents, projected work schedules with locations, and traffic impact. I think this is a wonderful project, especially for those of us that live on our precious barrier island. However, other locations have seen issues with projects like this that are very easy to avoid if adequate communication is applied. Living on the island, I also see firsthand how bad our flash flooding issues can be. It doesn't take long for several of our main roads to be almost impassable. I would love to work with the CRC and the beach management plan, and if successful, implement this in all areas of concern. Also, to see road maintenance continue for all areas. Being a part of the council as a team to make this home we call a better place is my main goal. I understand this decision is yours as a council to make, and hope you look at me as an honest voice for our community. Thank you.
Sloan Thigpen. Sloan Thigpen. Stanley Griffin.
Good morning, Stanley Griffin. Live at 301 C Mandalay Court. I want to thank the council first off for having this process to let the folks know who is interested in the position and going through the a process to appoint someone. My wife and I moved to Surf City in 2017, but before that, 20 plus years, we lived in the Scotts Hill area, and Surf City was our family beach. We brought the kids here. They went over to George Howard's at Onshore Surf Shop and got their surf lessons there. So we have loved and visited Surf City for many, many years. Since moving to Surf City, I've been serving on the Board of Adjustments for the past 4 years. Heavily involved with the Powder for Troops charity organization and help support other charity organizations. We live in a wonderfully generous community and proud to be part of that. I'm not a politician. A couple years ago, if you'd asked me about being on a town council, I would have said no way. But after conversations, there was a gentleman who said, if not you, who? And if not now, when? And it kind of indicted me. And so I pledged to be more involved. I'm a licensed professional engineer here in the state of North Carolina. I'm the Global Quality Director for GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy, so based in Wilmington. Those engineering skills I can bring to the board, so problem-solving skills, critical thinking, data and risk-informed decision-making, so that we're making sound decisions and moving in the right direction. I want to help the city continue to move in a positive direction. Responsibly manage the growth that we're seeing, protect the resources that we have, the beaches that we have, the things that we enjoy so much living here. So pledge to be a voice and an ear for the citizens and represent them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kimberly Frankenfield.
Good morning, Council, and good morning to all of my neighbors. I am not a wealthy business owner, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I have all of the experience that many of the other candidates have. I think we have a lot of great people that are interested in being a part of this council. What I will say is that I have energy, I have excellent communication skills and relationship building skills, and what I really want is to be a part of the council in order to represent all of my neighbors. So we're hearing everyone's voice and everyone is communicated with. I'm going to keep it short because there's a lot of us up here, but I just wanted to say I appreciate your time and consideration, and it's just a pleasure to be here and to meet more of our neighbors. Thank you.
John Davis.
Hey, good morning. Again, my name is John Davis, and I come from a little different perspective. Up until June of 2020, I'd never been to Topsail or Surf City in my life. Looking at this area as part of a job relocation, I come through Surf City on a Saturday morning, absolutely fell in love with it. I put a contract on a house that afternoon. The house was ready in December of 20. I moved in, and this is my forever home. For me, actually got engaged while I was down here, got a wedding coming up, so this, met a lady from this area, and this is it. I absolutely love it. I come with 30 years construction management experience in both infrastructure, facilities, and commercial construction. What I think I can bring and offer to contribute to Surf City as we continue to grow. I know there's been a lot of talk with the infrastructure and everything else, and the growth rate in this area is phenomenal. It's got to be managed, controlled, and maintain what makes Surf City Surf City. That's what everybody loves. We don't want to be a Wilmington up here. We want to grow, but in the right way. And I look at it very simply, this is my forever home. I want to be involved. I serve on the board of adjustments as a volunteer. And just, again, offering my services, I'd love to be a part of the city council. And just, I think I can add and contribute a new perspective to it. I moved down from Roanoke, Virginia. So I love it. I'm here for good. Whether I'm on the board or not, I'll always be a part of it. So thank you.
Abby Land.
Good morning. Madam Mayor, Council, good morning. My name is Abby Land, and in a past life, I worked in public relations and was a marketing manager for Marine Corps Community Services aboard Camp Lejeune. I walked away from that job, my dream job, to be a full-time mother, caregiver, and advocate for my daughter with special needs. And being her advocate is what recently drove me to work toward my master's in special education. It wasn't with the hope of becoming a teacher, but instead to arm myself with as much knowledge as possible to fight for her rights and the rights of her classmates. I always want to be the voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. And that is why I'm here before you today. I recognize that growth is inevitable. I recognize that growth is necessary, but I don't think it has to come at the cost of our communities or our children who are already here. I want to help make sure that all future growth in Surf City is done with our children in mind first. They've been paying the price since Florence. They've been suffering since COVID. They are already at risk of being unheard or neglected in their overcrowded classrooms. They have paid enough. And I want to ensure that moving forward, they get the most out of what Surf City has to offer. My husband and I moved our daughter here because we fell in love with this undiscovered gem. I love the fact that the fire department will help me get her on the beach. I love the fact that the fire department participates in our neighborhood 4th of July parade. I love this small town feel. It is the reason that brought so many of us here, and I think it is worth fighting for, and I want to be part of that fight. Thank you.
Elizabeth Henry.
Good morning, and thank you for this time to introduce myself. And while I would go through all of my qualifications and why I think that I should be on the town council, at this time I would like to respectfully withdraw my application. Had I known that Mrs. Trudy Solomon had submitted her application, I actually would not have submitted mine. If this were a voting time, I would vote for her over myself, and I do consider myself as qualified for this position. But I respectfully thank you for your time and your service to myself, my family, and this community, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thomas McCullough, who I believe might be joining by Zoom.
Hi, good morning. I'm Thomas McCullough. I would thank Mayor Batts and the Town Council for this time this morning. Also, thank you to all the other applicants. It's quite impressive to see so many talented citizens of the town show this great interest in the open position on the Town Council. I've bought my property. I live at 2012 South Shore Drive on the island. I'm the owner of Core Service Group. I'm the president of Core Service Group. My company provides compliance services in North Carolina to pharmaceutical and biotech companies. Over the past 10 years, we've completed those compliance services for more than $2 billion of capital expansion projects in the pharma and biotech industries. I very well understand the complexities of scope, schedule, and budgetary constraints associated with those major capital expansion and improvement projects, and believe that experience in the regulated industry can be a valuable addition to the Town Council. I intend to retire and live out my life on the island. I'm an avid boater and fisherman, and just really want to work with the Town Council and Mayor to ensure and contribute to our growth in a manner that is controlled and respects and retains the character of the town. Like the rest of the applicants, Surf City is a wonderful, beautiful place to live, honest, hardworking town that I'm grateful to be a part of. Thank you for your consideration. You'll have my dedication if I'm a selected applicant. You'll have all the time and dedication I have to support the town's goals, and do my best to represent the best interest of my fellow citizens. Thank you for your consideration, and again, thank you for accommodating my presentation remotely today as I'm working out of town. Look forward to getting back to the island very soon. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Okay, let me try, is Sloan Thigpen here? No? Or Stephen DeRosa? Okay, that's all of them.
It is my understanding that there were a few that had called and withdrew, including the one this morning that said they were sick and couldn't be here. Were they given the opportunity to speak online?
He was, and he has not joined.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I just want to say thank you. What an overwhelming, group of people that are so willing to step up to the plate and serve City. And we are very grateful and thankful for you coming out and speaking today and filling out the resume that we sent to you. So at this time, we're going to move on to item number 2 on our agenda, which is the Parks, Recreation, Tourism part-time permanent position, and I'm going to call upon Jody Shepard, our Park and Rec Director.
Start here this
this morning, and then I'm going to shift over to the table for a presentation. So our item number 2, good morning, Council and Mayor.
Jody.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. All right, so good morning, Council and Mayor. This morning I would like to present, I'm requesting that we could move forward with a part-time permanent position. This position would be within the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department, focusing on recreation programs. This position would help us with our pivoting of some of our additional children's programs, such as winter break camps, spring break camps, summer mini camps, and teacher workday camps. So if anybody has any questions about the position. All right.
Any discussion on this position? If not, this is just a consensus item.
Yes.
If there is no discussion, can I have a consensus?
Yes. Mr. Burr, is that position already created?
Yeah, it's in the pay scale. We just need to reclassify.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
So do I have a consensus from council to move forward?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Jody, we'll move on to item number 3, which is the Surf City Live 22 overview and consideration of the Surf City Live 23 budget.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Mayor and Council, thank you for giving me the time to put together this presentation after our Surf City Alive event this year. So this presentation will give you an overview of our event this year. There we go. So the event overview, the event took place on Saturday, November 4th within Soundside Park. It took full departmental efforts following the rules and regulations per a ticketed event. This is the first time that the town has had a ticketed event, so we did learn a lot of things along this process, and I feel like we did it very, very well for our first time in bringing everybody in and assisting with that. So the event capacity within Soundside Park for the amount of chairs that we had and our seated chair section was 2,500. The total tickets sold was 2,310. The sponsorship tickets was 160, and then we had to reserve band tickets for our bands that participated. So again, as I addressed earlier, this was a full team effort, as well as our special event committee was in the process from beginning to the end in assisting with this particular event. The event setup, we started that earlier in the week so that way we could make sure we had everything ready to roll by Saturday. It was a little bit different and more involved than some of our other events, so I think we did that very well. As well as traffic control, that was another positive. It went very quickly for us. A lot of the same concepts that we had put in place for 3rd of July we did for this event, as well as some additional components because it was a ticketed, secured event. So how did we get here? So how we got here with our marketing was our current Surf City marketing plan that we have with our tourism subcommittee. Our focus was focusing on shoulder season, off-season events, so in the October to April timeframe. So we utilized our current digital marketing campaign that we currently have within our marketing plan. Some of that was incorporated into digital ads for this particular event, social media platforms, and our website. Radio ads, and then we had several staff that interviewed within our radio stations, banners and road signage, and then posters for this event. So all of this had to do with our marketing aspect. So I do have a couple slides on here. This particular marketing information is from our marketing digital campaign that we currently have in play within our marketing plan. So this particular slide gives an overview of the marketing that is put on Google. So one of the important things that I think in this slide is the CTR, so that's our click-through rate. So how many people saw this ad and they clicked on it and made it all the way in to purchase a ticket? So that was that 20%. And again, all of this is directly from October 3rd through November 4th, so strictly for this particular event. This again gives you some more overview. This is impressions. So how many people did this go out to on a digital platform that actually saw it? So maybe they didn't click on it, but it was somewhere out where they could actually find it and see it. So again, October through November. And then our last slide here, this is just strictly on Facebook. So again, it's giving you the same information, impressions, so how many people did it reach that it was in that demographic digital area, click-through rate, and then click. So maybe they just clicked on the post, but it didn't go any farther than that. Maybe they didn't purchase a ticket, but they were interested in what it was. This is our 2022 budget, so you'll see our revenues and our breakdowns with our ticket sales, our merchandise, our sponsorships, photo sales. So that's what our budgeted number was at. You'll see our expenditures. All of that is broken down. I primarily handled all of the budgeting to make sure that everything that was brought in or taken out was accounted for, and then you'll see our profit loss, and our profit was at $11,353.47. So after the event, we did have several different event debriefs. These particular avenues was focused on the debrief within our special event committee. So we all came back at the end of the event. We sat down, we discussed it. Overall, we were very excited as far as the success that we had with our traffic, with our day of events, with our setup, with our breakdown. Our group did an amazing job for our first ever ticket event. We were very happy with each one of everybody helping. So some needs that we saw moving into the future if we decide to do this event again would be additional staffing for this event. It takes a lot of people for an event of this size, as well as it's set up differently than how we would normally have an event because it is ticketed. Additional labeled sections within the event layout. We had 3 sections that were seated, and then we had 1 section that was bring your own chair. We think by having additional labeled sections that will assist to make it a little bit more manageable for the staff that are working. Again, all seated sections, instead of bringing your own chair, everything will be clearly defined as a seated section and labeled out. All necessary staff take part in security meetings. So there's numerous areas, so police, fire, emergency management, all of those people need to be in those security meetings to make sure everybody's on the same page. All security have access to radio, so some of this is our outside security that differs from police and fire, making sure that they have the items they need. Start events set up earlier within the week. So this year we did start earlier, but kind of transitioning that a little bit and having the setup within the park earlier, so that way when we come to Friday and Saturday, we can focus on some of those key components with these briefings, and we'll get down to that part. So pre-event meeting for staff managing setup. We did have a lot of staff within other departments that maybe they just assisted with setup. So bringing them in ahead of time and having it clearly labeled out the expectations for that setup, I think it'll go a little bit smoother. When it comes to command briefings and field briefings, that's the same thing that we do for our other large-scale events, but bringing these in a day earlier so that way the day of the event, it's easier on all of our staff that are working. So Friday, a command briefing, that's for everybody who is designated to an individual section, and then having those individuals go out to their staff that are working within the field for a field briefing on Saturday. So additional follow-up. So we did send out surveys. So everybody who purchased a ticket, we were able to grab that data and send them a survey that was whenever everything that had to do with this ticketed concert event. So again, all ticket purchasers, we obtained a lot of positive feedback. A lot of the things that we discussed internally within our debrief, we were finding out some of the same information from the public. So it's nice to see that we were both on the same page with some of those things that we're wanting to work on. So again, we obtained demographic information. We obtained who stayed in Surf City, how many people shopped in Surf City, and how many people dined. So up here on the screen, you'll see I picked one particular question that I thought gave us some great information for us to look at. And again, this goes back to that marketing plan that we put in place. So this says, other than tickets, food, beverages at the concert, how much money did you spend in Surf City during this event? So you'll see an overview of how many people spent under $50, $50 to $100, $100 to $200, and over $200. And then a small percentage only spent money at the concert. But again, this is falling back into that marketing plan, so we've grabbed some great data that can be used to update our marketing plan in the future. And then less than 1% would not come back to another ticketed event. So I am going to introduce, I want to make sure I say Mr. Ryan Butchley's name correctly. So Mr. Ryan, if you would come up for me. He's going to give an introduction, and he was who handled our video production for our overview of our event this year.
Good morning, Mayor Betts, Town Council. My name is Ryan Butchley. Been living down here for about 11 years now. Marine Corps brought me down from Pittsburgh, so my wife and I have been here quite a bit, and we thoroughly enjoy coming to Surf City as much as we possibly can. Currently working at the Salty Turtle Brewery in Surf City. And so I started a media business on the side that keeps me going. Started out as a hobby, and now it's progressing even more. So when I was approached to do the media for this event, it was an extremely humbling experience, to say the least. Just like I said, something that started off as a hobby, now I'm being able to do something for a town that, you know, so many great citizens live in, and get to enjoy events such as this. Formerly, like I said, I was in the Marine Corps. I was also a police officer here in Surf City for a little bit, so spent a lot of time in the area, and like I said, I thoroughly enjoy helping the people out and kind of giving everybody something to look back onto, and even use this as a marketing tool for next year to hopefully bring in even more people. So the video you're about to see is just kind of a highlight recap of the event from start to finish. Just something I put together. All in all, I think my total amount of time spent at the event leading up to it and editing is well over 24 hours. So I put in a lot of time and effort, and I take pride in my work, and excited to be here today to present it to you and to everybody else in the room. So enjoy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. We're very excited about that. That'll be a great marketing tool for us to use in the future. So to close my presentation, moving forward 2023, so that is an overview of the 2022 event and the breakdown of all those major components that we felt like were very important to highlight. So if we were moving forward into 2023, we are requesting that we would move forward with the same budget that was allowed for the 2022 year. So if anybody has any questions about the presentation, please let me know. You're welcome.
So at this time, after Jody allowing us to see the overview of the project, we will be asking for consideration, discussion on moving forward with the Surf City Line 23 budget. This would only be a consensus item on today's schedule.
That is correct.
Anybody have any discussion on this item?
I think it went well from what I see and what I hear. The only concern I have is still a concern. I'm glad to see we made money on it. This is our venue and our parking. That seems to be still be able to limit us to what we can and can't do, and I think you need to keep that in consideration.
If there's no more discussion, then this will, do I have a consensus on this item?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that you?
Yeah.
We have a full consensus on the item. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is the right-of-way cleanup policy project, and I'm going to call on our town planner, Amy Kimes, to come up and present.
Mayor Batts, Council, thank you for letting me come today to do an update on the right-of-way clearing policy.
Amy,
Oh,
you may need to hold that.
oh, hold up.
You may need to hold it.
Oh, sorry. I'm not really a loud talker. So let me start over. Mayor Batts and Council, thank you for letting me come today to update on the right-of-way clearing policy. Scott Hitchings, who is our code enforcement officer, is also here today, just in case you have any questions, but I'll be doing the majority of the presentation. So we're going to start with just a kind of little recap of the project and then what the changes are that we've made to the policy that you have already seen. So as we've noted throughout, all of this comes from Chapter 16, Sections 1 through 4, and 17 through 18 of the town ordinances. So when we started this project, there was a list of main goals. So our main goals for the project, or for the right-of-way clearing, is to maintain our sight triangles and clear recovery zones, to provide pedestrian access that's not on the roadway to limit that pedestrian vehicular potential impact point. For emergency vehicle clearance, to allow better street maintenance, to increase our ability to control and manage stormwater, and to allow access for our utility assets. We don't think about all the things that are in the ground, but there is a lot in the ground out there. So this was just, you have seen these before, but kind of what does it look like when we're out there? A lot of people look at the, the road and they think, well, I own all the way up to the pavement, so this is just a good visual for a collector street on kind of where property lines actually are. We utilize Pender County GIS. We show our road, the utility strip, the sidewalk or walkway, and then a 5-foot clear zone behind that, or a 10-foot clear zone on the opposite side. And then in many areas, you'll see that there's still property that's within the right-of-way that's between the actual property line and the street. So on what's considered our local streets, which would be our smaller streets, this example is 7th Street up on the canals. You can see for this one there's a 60-foot right-of-way. So when you're looking at that, you've only got about 20 foot of pavement in most areas. And then you would have 8-foot clear zones on each side, and then there's still a significant amount of property between that clear zone and that property line. On this particular example, it's 12 foot. As we have discussed out here, our right-of-ways range from 29.5 feet wide to 100 feet wide. So that is going to vary. This picture is just a representation and is not what everybody's property is going to look like. So a couple things we wanted to just highlight is, it's not the town's goal to go out and cut down the trees that are hundreds of years old out here that give the character to the island and provide, storm mitigation and help with different things. So these are just a couple of trees. In our zoning ordinance, we have a coastal forest overlay district which talks about these protected trees and protecting them. So this is just a good example of a couple of those larger trees. So key policy updates. when we initially brought this to y'all, there was 3 phases in it. What we have found is that in the public input meetings, which were held in November, it is much better to do this in a 2-phase versus 3 phases. So the first time we went through, we kind of had a phase 1 where we were going to send out letters to everybody and say you have to remove these particular items, and then we were going to come back and do the zoned approach where we would go to each zone and say phase 2 is you move to either the 8-foot designation, the 10-foot designation, or the 5-foot on the back of sidewalk. In a attempt to simplify the process, make it easier for everyone to understand, and limit the amount of times that people are going out and removing things, we went with the 2 phases versus the 3 phases. So the first phase will just be that zoned approach where we will start in zone 1, and you will have to remove everything that's within either 8 or 10 feet of your asphalt, edge of asphalt, or on 5 feet on the back side of the sidewalk if you have sidewalk in front of your house, unless your property line is closer to the road than that. So we will not be going on private property on anything. That was a big question during the public outreach portion, is what if my property line is closer than 8 feet? If your property line is closer than 8 feet, then we will stop at your property line. All of this policy is based off of our Chapter 16 street maintenance. So one of the things that we also talked about, initially we had said 60 days notice, so we will send basically everybody in your zone will receive a letter that says, these are our policies. If you have anything that does not meet these policies, it needs to be removed within 60 days. So further conversation on that. We have a lot of second home owners here, or investment owners or whatnot, so they may not have the ability to get down here as quickly. Their house may be rented, for a significant amount of time, so coordinating some of this could be an issue. So we did increase that to 90 days. We also added there will be an internal staff committee that will evaluate any request for exemption. Any approved exemption will be documented as an encroachment agreement. So we will be formalizing that process of an encroachment agreement over the next couple of months, where we have an actual process where you come in, fill out a form. There will be some legal language in there that the attorney will be looking at that talks about responsibility and kind of you taking the responsibility of this item, and also that if we as a town ever need to remove it for any reason, even though you put it there and you paid for it, that we, because it's within our right of way, we can remove it, and that we will not be replacing it. That is, that's a chance you take. But if we had a sewer line break or whatnot and we had to go remove that, we're not going to landscape an area. We're going to put back some grass and move on with it. And then if a property owner receives a citation, that they may request an internal review. So Scott will be going out, riding around. He'll come up with our list of people who are not in compliance after that 90 days for that zone. Letters will be sent. If you don't agree with that, or feel that if you don't agree with it, you can request a review by town staff. There will be 3 town staff members, not including Scott, because obviously if Scott did it, he thinks it's right. So there will be 3 of us that look at it and make the determination whether or not we think that should stand. If it stands, you have the opportunity to appeal to the Citizens Appellate Committee, or the Citation Appellate Committee. If they can either overturn it or let it stand. If it stands, then you get to keep your item. You have to fill out an encroachment agreement. It will all have to be documented through that encroachment agreement process. And then if they do not let it stand, if they agree with town staff, then you would have to remove it at that point. So steps moving forward. So, we started this, I don't know, it seems like forever ago, working on the policy for enforcement. So today we're requesting approval of this final document. It has been revised. In your packet, you have the completely marked up version. I have a version where we have accepted changes to make it cleaner to read. I can also provide that. We will be reaching out to NCDOT once the document is approved to ensure compatibility with NCDOT policies and procedures. We've had some conversations with them leading up to this. We've had citizens to reach out to them. For the island, that would be NC 50 and NC 210 would be the only areas affected by this. And on the mainland, the main area affected would be, again, NC 50 and 210. But we want to make sure that our policy is not doing something contradictory to them. So once we have our policy fully vetted through council, we will provide it to them and discuss how to move forward on those roads. If there's any additional conversation needed, then we would begin our zoned approach on town streets and work through our NCDOT concerns. And this is on town-owned, or this is on state and town-maintained streets is what this policy addresses. It does not currently address private streets. So then, again, for the public outreach, we changed it from 60 days to 90 days. So we will do social media, town website, and all of that to get it out there again, just so that everybody has an idea. We will begin with the zone, so we will pull the addresses and mail to those zones. You have 90 days to get it done. If your zone is not being done right now and you want to start in advance and be proactive, we would be ecstatic that you did that, but you will receive a mailer when your zone is ready. We will also begin bringing town-owned property in compliance during Phase 1, Zone 1, which would be our first one. We do know we have a couple of things that we need to fix as well, so we'll be working on fixing our things. Once we reach the end of Phase 1, Zone 1, our code enforcement officer will provide the list of non-complying lots. The internal review committee will evaluate any requests for encroachments, and all appeals will be made to the CAC. And then we will also confirm that everything is in the right-of-way if there are questions, and then we'll begin the phased enforcement of the ordinance. So basically, I don't have a timeline for you on when we're going to get to Zone 13 because I have no idea how long each zone is going to take. So as we go through the process, we'll come back before council and say, you know, this is how it's going and this is how we see it going. But until we really get in there and start seeing things, we're not sure. I have noticed on the island that some things are already being removed. We got a lot of positive comments at the public meetings about sight distance issues and wanting to clear those up. A lot of people were concerned about not being able to see when they were pulling out and things like that. On the flip side of that, we did get some questions that were, you know, if you have allowable exceptions such as mailboxes, which are federally required to be there, then why can't I leave all of my things in there? So, you know, my answer to that is, in a perfect world, y'all would let me design the streets to meet all the perfect standards and everything would be amazing and would be just the way we wanted it. But we don't live in a perfect world, and we live in a world where things were laid out before a lot of these rules and regulations happened, before we had sewer in town. So things have creeped over time, and we're just trying to get that back and provide a safer working environment for our employees, for other utility companies that are out there, for all of the people that are walking. In the past, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, multi-use paths have become a huge thing. People are coming to the beach and they're wanting to work out while they're here on vacation. I find that a little odd. I don't work out on vacation, but there are people that really are enjoying, you know, getting out and running in the mornings and all of that, and being able to provide that area is a huge thing. As y'all are aware, we do have a couple of feasibility studies going on right now for those multi-use paths to come in on the island and even off the island all the way to Hampstead. So we're working towards that, and this is a good step in that direction. I think that is my last slide. Nope. Whoops, wrong way. That was my last slide. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them, and Scott would be ecstatic to answer some as well.
I'm sure.
Jeremy, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Don?
No.
John?
I do not.
Buddy? No. Thank you, Amy and Scott, for presenting. I know the town staff has put a lot of time and effort over the last, what, year? Maybe?
Yeah, It's been a while we've been working on this.
So we appreciate your time, and hopefully, this will be a smooth transaction. And again, if any of the residents have concern, they can always reach out to us, and we will try to answer your questions very promptly. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may add, the project does have a dedicated website to it, so town staff will continue to update that website to provide information on process and steps and timing moving forward so that everybody knows what those expectations are. That'll be a good resource for our residents to see that information. So, thank you.
Item number 5 is the December 6 minutes approval. I'm going to let Kyle explain the reason for this.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, and good morning, council, and those in attendance this morning. This is a little bit out of ordinary for y'all to approve minutes. However, if you recall, at our December 6th meeting, I had a rushed item to seek approval to submit a grant for the development of a beach management plan. Part of that grant application requires proof or documentation that the governing board, yourselves, did take action to approve that. So approving these minutes will give me the final piece to submit to the Division of Coastal Management for that grant. Every other item is taken care of, and I did submit that last Friday as I had indicated that I would to y'all. So if you'd be so inclined to take action on this to approve those minutes as opposed to consensus, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'll make a motion. We approve them.
Second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those that oppose, the same. The ayes have it. Motion carried. And then item number 6 is going to be the manager contract renewal.
I think we're going to go into closed session first, Madam Mayor.
I make a motion, we go into closed session, and I've also give you the general statute, and it's A6 personnel.
Do we have a second?
I will second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We are now in closed session.
Thank all of y'all for coming.
closed session to go in our regular scheduled program.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Madam Mayor, if I might, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we extend our town manager's contract for 5 years, beginning January 15th of 2023.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign.
Well, I was voting for you, even though I don't vote. Madam Clerk, if you'll just reflect, no action was taken in closed session, and that motion was unanimous.
I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. If there are nothing else on that anyone needs to address, can I have a motion?
Oh, just real quick, just want to let Mayor and Council know, I do plan to take a few days after Christmas, between the Christmas and New Year holiday, so I'll just be traveling out of state for a few days, but other than that, you know, always, you know how to get up with me, so just want to let you know.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I will second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Don't forget that.
Or adjourn.
We are adjourned.